Yo, what's going on, guys, and welcome to a brand new series to my channel known as Program Explained. In this series, I'm going to be going over any and all of my major programs released, starting with my new Hyper Strength program that is currently available on my website and on sale in a bundle with my bulking blueprint. So if you're looking to make some of the best winter bulking results you'll likely ever experience, I highly recommend getting the bundle and trying it out for yourself. Now, for those of you who don't know, my program offers 3 weekly frequencies. One is a 4-day per week, a 5-day per week, and a 6-day per week frequency. However, for this video, we are going to be covering the 6-day per week frequency since it's my personal favorite and has the shortest session time required. I'd also like to mention that I'm only going to be covering the first week, known as the introduction week. So if anyone watching this video knows how to make your own program, they can add their own accumulation phases, deloads, tapers, and max testing. Now that we're done with that, we'll jump right into the workout with the first exercise, which is the barbell bench press. Now, the reason I'm including the barbell bench press is because this program has both bodybuilding and powerlifting goals, and as some of you may know, the bench press is one of the 3 main lifts in powerlifting along with the squat and deadlift. Not only that, the bench press is highly conducive to progressive overload and is overall just a good movement for determining your week's fatigue status, given that if your bench press performance is decreasing while similar accessory work is increasing, it likely means that you're actually gaining muscle, but your systematic fatigue is accumulating to a point that it will detract from your main compound movements, and you might need a deload if it continues for 2 to 3 consecutive weeks. Now, when it comes to general cues for the bench press, the main things to think about are 1, ensuring you have all 3 contact points firmly planted, meaning your back and glutes are planted on the bench and your heels remain in contact with the ground throughout the entire lift. Now, the second cue is before initiating the lift, get into a comfortable and stable position where you feel you can generate the most force with proper leg drive, as well as having a stable upper body by retracting and depressing your scapula. Third, when gripping the bar, make sure your palms won't slip, as well as make sure your wrists are in a comfortable position that won't cause any pain, and you're actively thinking of bending the bar or holding a pencil between your armpits to tuck your elbows in and activate your lats. Lastly, don't forget to maintain a good tempo and pause at the bottom before pressing to mimic competition standards, since strength is typically very specific. And that's pretty much all the benching cues. So now that we're done with that, we're going to move on to the next exercise, which is the supinated close grip lat pull down. Now, for this movement, I chose close grip in order to activate your lats more, since the lats function is to adduct your arm in towards your torso, and therefore a close grip should produce a better lat contraction. I also decided to go with a supinated grip, since in most trainees, a neutral to supinated grip is typically where it yields the best contraction with the lats and gives the best mind-muscle connection, given that your arm is closer to your torso with these grips, as well as it might unbias the traps to a certain degree. However, you can of course go with whichever grip you feel works your lats best and you are most comfortable with, which is dependent between each trainee. Lastly, I'd like to mention that with all movements, and specifically with lat movements, you'll generally want to emphasize on holding and really feeling the stretch in the starting position of the movement before initiating the concentric, given this will likely help your mind-muscle connection with the lats, which most trainees are lacking, as well as it might just overall help with more growth, since the literature seems to point towards training in the lengthened position, likely yielding more hypertrophy than in the shortened position for most, if not all, muscles. So now that we're done with that, we're moving on to the next exercise. I chose the incline dumbbell bench press for this exercise since we're trying to increase our bench strength, and again, strength is quite specific, so you'll generally want to include a similar movement to the exercise you're trying to progress in. Not only that, I selected the dumbbell variation rather than the barbell one, since you can go lower in the stretch position for, of course, a better stretch, and as such you'll increase your overall chest flexibility, as well as you'll work on being more explosive in the hole. Other than that, you generally just want to mimic your general bench press cues with this movement, and that's pretty much it. Now, for the fourth exercise, I chose a chest supported row, so you can either do a machine chest supported row or a plate loaded chest supported row, whichever you prefer. The main focus is just to make sure you have a chest support in order to stabilize you and limit anything detracting from the main focus of the movement, which is just to hit the traps. Not only that, the chest support will help you get into a very good stretch position for the mid traps, since the traps retract your scapula and support allows for you to round your shoulders forward better than if there was no support. Now, with this movement, I'd also recommend using a pronated or neutral grip, as well as gripping with your elbows flared at least 45 degrees away from your torso in order to bias the traps over the lats. Now, lastly, with trap movements specifically, I typically emphasize holding the contraction in the shortened position in order to make sure you're really feeling it in your traps, since some trainees typically don't feel a meaningful mind-muscle connection without this cue. Now, for the last chest exercise, I programmed an incline cable chest press, since this movement typically has a very strong chest focus with a minimal triceps focus. The main cues for this movement are to ensure you cross the midline of your chest for a strong contraction, as well as getting into a very deep lengthened position for a really good stretch. Now, moving on to your last pulling movement, the incline bench chest supported lat pull down is one of the best lat movements I have ever felt, and is often also a favorite of my clients, as well as just any other random gym person I've introduced the exercise to. So if you were to take only one exercise from this video, this would be the movement I recommend. The general focuses here are very similar to the lat pull down. However, if done properly, you'll likely feel one of the best mind muscle connections for the lats that you've ever felt with this movement, which of course is depending on the trainee. So typically you'll want to get into a very deep stretch for the movement, with your shoulder flexion being no greater than 120 degrees from your torso, since we are trying to hit the lower lats. You'll also generally want to use a close grip width, as well as a neutral or supinated grip. I also recommend using a cue of pulling at your elbows rather than at your hands, or to bring your armpit closer into your torso, since this generally offers a better mind muscle connection for my clients. So now that we're done with that, we're moving on to the last movement of the day, which is the cable or machine crunch. Now, typically when I program abs, I put it at the end of the day. However, a lot of trainees may benefit from doing it somewhere in between your workout, since trainees often skip the abs when it's at the end of the day, and when it's your last movement, trainees often just lack effort even if they don't skip it. For one example, I typically put it somewhere in the middle of my workout, or I do it whenever a piece of equipment I want is being occupied, since I will often also skip it. So now my main coaching cues for any ab movement is actually to just bend your spine. I often see trainees bring their torso towards their legs with a completely straight spine. This is a mistake, since the abs function is literally to bend the spine. So if you don't, you likely won't be hitting your abs to any significant degree. So now that we're done with the video, I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for making it this far into the video, as it really helps the growth of my channel. Also, if you guys are looking for an already made program to take your training to the next level, my program is currently live on my website and is currently on sale in a bundle, link in the description. And if you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, or comment if you have any questions or feedback. Lastly, if you found the video useful and you know someone else who might also find it useful, don't forget to share the video, as this greatly helps the growth of my channel, as well as it helps get good fitness information out there. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I'll be seeing you guys next time. Peace.